going to facilitate. Now you're sitting here wondering, what's the game plan this other person is coming? I mean, me, I know what I am anticipating some moves, so I have to prepare. But it gets a little uncomfortable because I think if you look at it very well, the dynamics or the power dynamics. It's the one who, and besides, you have the button to shut it off. Even if you're losing, you can do you have all sorts of things to be able to do. So the power is
I know that feeling, man. Rudy, how did you get into the creative industry? Walk us through that.
I don't think anybody gets into creative industry. It's a streak. You either have it or you don't. The better position is probably how I chose to harness my journey.
Okay.
Because I've always been a music head.
Yeah.
I've loved music. I grew up listening to Judy Butcher, Boucher, whichever one and my dad was a choir master.
Oh.
So classical music never left. Like you are, if music is on, is Handel, Bach, it's in your head. And then obviously when you start to rebel, you're looking for hip hop.
Whoa.
You're looking for hip hop, you're looking for disco, you're looking for all of that. So I think it shaped me.
It gave you that eclectic taste for music.
It did.
How did you get into radio?
I
already got into you.
You know what? I think you're right. It did. So I grew up in Kumasi.
Okay.
And it's probably, I would say, the golden era because, the media peripheralization or the opening up, private media coming in was a few years old. Probably some of the best voices, talents, and let me call them talents, to have ever come out. Because I see everybody today, 25 years after, and I was like, those guys. And I just come out, just finished secondary school, and you're preparing for your next stage of things, and you tune in, and radio is big, it's huge. There are voices. I'm listening to morning shows, and I'm listening to drive time shows, and folks like Nana Boachi Adam of Capital Radio is on. He was my favorite at that time. We became friends.
Wow.
Because we developed a shared. We realized we had shared interest. His music style was, and I'm listening to all these voices, and you hear Kamala belting all the way from Accra, and all these voices, and before Yanni used to write radio and TV guide, and it was one of my favorite things to read. And you're hearing all these things, all these innovations on groove, on choice, whatnot. So, and I love music.
Yeah.
So, you know what I used to do? I used to actually take pen and paper, and I will write the shows out as they are coming live.
Oh.
And I'll write it in my voice. I'm the one presenting them. So whatever you said, how you were delivering, I'll be rewriting and re-saying it from my POV.
Are you serious?
From my POV. And I was like, I could do better than these guys. Let's start having these conversations.
And that was after secondary school.
Yeah. This is
which
1999.
Which school was that?
This is so I went to St. Augustine's College at St. John's School in Takoradi. And this is 1999, and I was like, I would take these things and I rewrite the shows. And I was like, I could do this thing, So I started to get close to folks like MBY, and my music knowledge was I had to learn. So it was I knew the trends, we're studying it. So you're having all these conversations, or even I tell you what, I take you back to Takoradi, where I was in St. John's School, and there was this gentleman called J.M. Caesar. It was on Sky Power FM, yes, back in the day. And this guy I used to surf school and actually go on his show, and I was almost like a remote producer. So, and his music style, impeccable R&B. Wow. They have taste. So it's all of these things kind of shaped you. It shaped my mind. So it was for me an extension of that creative streak I talk about, because I learned to write. I was part of a school team that put together a school magazine. I was writing stories that I didn't even know what I was doing, but again, like I was doing what later I came to learn to be creative direction.
Okay.
So the magazine structure would be this. Here's the table of content, all of that. Man, didn't know what was doing. We were just doing it like that. So it's, for me, radio was a natural way. And the thing is, I don't think I had the confidence for TV.
You don't?
Not that I have the face for radio. You know when they tell you have a face for radio.
No. If you have the voice for radio, it's a compliment.
Listen, it's a very big compliment. No, so for me it became a very interesting.
Yeah.
It became a very interesting thing, like a very easy and extension for me. So I would take people's shows apart, listen to them with a very analytical mind. It's like, this was here. I learned time budgeting. Like, how many minutes did he spend doing this? He played this song for this time. He talked at this, and how he structured the conversation. And it was just, and then I was like, okay. And that was beginning of internet penetration.
Yeah.
So when you go to the cafe, as people are looking for hot meal chat, I'm listening to American radio and trying to break it down. And it's like, where's the correlation to this? So I walked into, funny thing, I've had a very long relationship with Multimedia Group.
Okay.
I walked into Live FM. Cox Stamaklo was the program's director back then. It's like,
Love FM.
Yes. I was like, I want to learn to produce. In fact, I could produce a show. And I hounded this man. They actually built a youth show and put me as an intern to produce. And Nyama Famia was the GM back then. And they gave me the show. The lady that used to host, I forget her name. She's around. She's still around. She actually became a news editor at Joy FM.
Okay.
From Kumasi. So you're listening to Joy Nisin, you're meeting up these people, and it kept shaping me. But I realized that it's going to be a long time before I get on air on Love FM. So I did the next best thing. You find the place you can be the big whale on the small space. So I found a small station. It was a new station that was coming because all the established brands needed established voices. The intention programs were very tight, and and I was not about carrying people's CD and trying to put nah. What are you people trying to say? So there was a new station coming up, and it was weird. Spirit FM.
Oh, Spirit.
Yeah, the sister station to Sunny.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it came before Sunny. It came before. So I worked in 1999, and there was a morning show, and there's a gentleman. He's actually a lecturer, Smooth Pasha, I think was his name. He was doing the show, and I was listening to the show. I listened to it a couple of times, like, I really could take this guy, I broke the show down, whatnot, and I was like, so how do we get in? I don't know. I didn't know anybody from Adam. I walked in there and I met somebody who became a very good friend. Like, we've been friends for probably 20-something years.
Okay.
And it became a business partner, actually. First person I met when I got to the radio station, I was like, and he was the head of sales. And I engaged and said, I'm here. I think you guys need me for us to have, I want to get on there. And I could do your shows. And I knew I wanted morning show, but I actually went for the weakest one I think I could do, which was the late afternoon drive. But I wanted the morning show. Forget it. I didn't want the late afternoon. The morning show was my thing. The morning show was my thing, right? And I was like, yo. So I had a conversation. It's like, yeah, you could do our drive, because they didn't actually have a host yet. There was a lot of music. I was like, nah. Selection, the music, I could take this. What are you talking about? Champ, do you know that I didn't know how to operate the console?
As of
none
that
of
time.
that, please. I've seen people do it, but I hadn't. So when I walked in there, and it's like, your confidence is interesting. It's my good friend Adam Lumo, actually.
Okay.
That's how we met. And the confidence which I did, I was like, you know what? I'll introduce you to the GM. Then he did. Nana Fori, God bless his soul.
Ruddy, which year are we talking about?
This is 1999.
99.
Yeah. Nana Fori, whose son is actually on Class FM, the morning show, or the late afternoon show. Yeah. And he's probably one of the best programmers because he came from GBC.
Okay.
And he built Capital FM in Kumasi.
Okay.
Literally, like from a programming perspective, one of them was I learned how to creatively shape thoughts from him.
Rudy, before we go to Capital, still at Spirit.
Yeah.
So finally, which show was given to you?
Oh, I got the drive. I walked in there, told the GMs, like, you can start, and like, listen, give me a week, I'll start. You know what I did? I called my cousin back in UCC and it's like, bro, you run a radio station there. I'm coming for the weekend. I need to learn how to manage this console thing, right? And it's like, yeah, come through. That cousin, no to Jando.
No, to the Jando. His
So-
Royal Ernest.
So I went in there. It's like, yeah, come through. And I went in there. And actually, that's how I met Kojo Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah, whenever he's okay. Lyrical punching. This is deep because he was doing morning show then.
Yeah.
it was an amazing
on
I think it was
ATL?
ETL.
Okay.
Wait, no. There was another one before.
Okay,
it.
all right.
The other station before it was a station
There was
because
there was
they
one
went
before.
down.
Yeah, there was one before.
Yeah, there was one before that. They were
Radio Valco.
Yes.
Radio Valco. Yeah.
Yes. So and I went to learn that thing. I came and I was like, yeah, but you know what? This thing is easy. Charlie will do it. He started the drive. I think probably in 2 weeks. It was less than a month. I was giving the morning show.
So you had the morning show.
Oh yeah. We were going for the morning show from day one. But the drive is just music. Please, we can't be.
You want talk.
Oh, we want to, and I think it was just how I was creatively shaping the thing, and it was more like I could anticipate the trend of where the station was going.
Yeah.
And I got the morning show, and I started to push the morning show.
Interesting. So that was your first.
That was my
radio station.
first. It was a job. It paid me money.
Then from there, where did you go?
From there, I grew tired. And I relocated from Kumasi, moved
Okay.
fully here. Because the thing is, I was always doing it. I've always been. That's why I'm saying creative is a streak. I was always doing events.
Okay.
So, in 1999, December, I think, my first tour with Kojo, we did Tadi, Kumasi in December, and I think Brekum. And I stitched it together and with my business partners at them, Kojo Boku, were big ideas. Yeah.
Oh.
So we stitched it together, and I realized that Charlie, this radio thing for you see, I've always had I'm a tall guy. I've always had a problem with ceiling. Like, where's the growth? So I was like, nah, this trajectory was easy to conquer. And then I moved here, and I was fully focused on events. I started to obviously leverage my relationship. My next radio gig was at Choice FM, actually.
Okay, Choice then.
Yeah, with Randy Abe, Dr. Randy Abe, Yao Sechi. Again, went in. You have to do the drive slow, guys. Come on, the morning show.
What's the drive?
Kamala sitting here, belting away. Come on, I could give him a run for some. I could give him a run. What are you wasting time for? It's like, yeah, I ended up actually becoming the programming director.
Oh, wow.
Run events and promotions, and still got the morning show.
Interesting. Choice FM.
Yeah.
And then from Choice?
Atlantis Radio. So, funny story. City FM had just come. City has just recruited Jessica. And Jessica was, I recruited Jessica for Choice.
Yeah.
Jessica Black Boy were actually doing a drive, which I christened back then at Choice at Highway 102.
Yeah.
And Jessica had just left. And I was on the morning show. And we started a conversation. Niyama Dagadu was programming director. We had the Choice. And it was like, Atlantis City. And City was like, City's startup it was a tactical move by Samens because he really saw the future.
Yeah.
It was like, you're going to spend money recruiting those sitting on top now, or you build tomorrow's talent. True. And I think he chose the tomorrow talent because everybody that came out of that class that he started with became big.
Sure.
And it was like, And I was very tactical about room for growth.
Yeah.
Then James appeared the late, may God bless his soul, of Atlantis is like, dude, we need to talk. Because Choice, we had run out of room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had run out of room. Yeah, family. Then we went straight to... So James was like, I'm giving you a morning show. Atlantis Radio has never had a morning show. But if you come, we'll put one together, and I want to do multiple voices. So it's not a mercurial single presenter drive. It's
Yeah.
and that gave us Atlantis Morning Drive with Eddie Blay and Jackie Ankara.
Okay.
And that was probably one of my. I enjoyed that 2 years. It was fun to do. It was also not work. and I think I had some of the best co-presenters. Probably that team. Like, it was funny last year. I was thinking, guys, maybe we should put a podcast together. Because I'm not done. We should. And because we called it AMD, and I was like, and I was trying to pick up guns. Like, nah, this AMD stands for Amada. And it was after that I actually came to fully, formally into Multimedia Group.
Okay, so which year did you come to Multimedia Group?
I think it was 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, 2007.
And how long did you stay here?
I'm a 2-year guy.
Otilo?
Yeah, because I'm on a mission.
Why?
I mean, and Multimedia was very...
Yeah.
It was a very straight conversation. You know, so the thing is Multimedia, I didn't come in as talent. I was recruited as innovations manager.
Yeah.
Echi at that time, Echi Kwame, he had a very strategic view, and he had come, and I later on came to understand what the vision was. You know, he had come from FMCG, needed to really engineer and re-put certain things in place. So that innovations desk was created to run events and promotions, new programming, new content direction. It was take us to like really structure our digital systems as it's coming. So then the support was actually more of the talent side. So I never came in with a show. I didn't have a show. I was more of a sweeper, because it was like, when I listen to you, Libro, you can play almost all of these roles and characters. Because also, kind of, I see sometimes this radio is performance based, actually. Yeah.
Joy 99.7 FM, the superstation. Right here with me is Ruddy Kwakye, media executive, event organizer, content curator, here with us today. Yabre Papa. Kojo Akoto Watson says hi. Headmaster.
Charlie, tell him to give me a shout out on the morning show.
On the morning show, yeah.
Charlie.
But you guys have something in common.
Yeah.
You guys have something nice, something in common.
Please. His is documented. Maybe rumor.
It is gazetted.
Mine is rumor. Rumor has it that.
Ruddy, so which part of your upbringing shaped your creative abilities?
So I grew up with, when you have the best time, I think, for a person to grow up with. My uncles and aunties, the really cool ones, were just in secondary school when I was leaving primary to JSS.
Okay.
So even though they were uncles and aunties, they were more of big brother, big sister. And like, I went to school speaking basic pidgin. Why? Because they were coming from secondary school and speaking pidgin with me. Thing they beat me for top. So it's like, hey, you be share guy, you are speaking pidgin now, lie under the bed. but I think those parts, and they also loved music, and in fact, my uncle actually started a couple of radio stations.
Okay.
Yeah, and
who's your uncle?
His name is Randy. He's not more in Randy Wilson. It's not more necessarily, but he mentored Abeku Santana. He mentored King Zuba, who's the chief executive of KMA. He started Ash FM as a programming guy. He worked in Classic FM in Techiman, started stations in Cape Coast. He was one of those builders. And I took a lot from him. And I think that shaped the creative streak. But the thing is I have a very wide berth of it. Like, radio wasn't my stop, but it's always my first love.
Yeah.
Like I say, when the fastest way to release stress from me is put me on air. I would.
And you have a special talent of doing weekend city show things.
Yeah, that was a fun part.
I can't describe them, but they know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. How did you get that talent? The humor talent.
Well, look, you grew up in a fancy household. Slapstick comedy is your friend.
It will be your portion.
Everybody is funny. The wit is. You see, I think the fancy language has wit built into it.
Yeah.
In any way, in terms of our responses and how we deal with things. So I think that's the part where I harnessed a lot, like putting that wit into play. I've never thought, for a very brief second, I thought, could I do comedy? And then I answered myself very, very fast, I can't.
Why can't you?
Because I'm not that funny.
You aren't?
I'm not that funny.
Out of all the things you've done in this creative space, which of them would you say has been the most fulfilling?
Personally, like I said, radio is my first love. But building event systems and being an ecosystem thinker, it's my most fulfilling. When I woke up and realized that when you produce a show, it's really economics at work, not for fun, not the entertainment. You're putting food on people's tables. You are helping people unlock, economic freedom. That's always been a fulfilling part of it, and fulfilling for me, because when I started to see it from the business side, it changed my entire thinking.
Yeah.
Like it's a numbers game. You think radio people, you don't come on air to just entertain, inform, and educate. So that thing that I don't know who invented it, that just every radio station tells you they do. But no, this thing is your talent is generating economic value or importance for your owners, for shareholders, and yourself, and the people that feeds at the bottom of that, that trickle down effect. It stops becoming just for the fun of it. It's for the fulfillment of it, and that's always been very important to me.
Rudy, for those who don't know the number of events you've curated and produced, take us through them.
Huh?
Lists. Anita Fapembra.
Oh wow. Hey. Oh wow. So, where do I start? Like I said, first big show was actually taking Kojo Ncho on tour to Takoradi.
Yeah.
And Kumasi. And we opened McLean Hotel. Like the first show we put up in McLean Hotel was us. And we built a stage in their pool. Their freshly made pool. I'm like, yeah, the stage is going here. And I like that pool.
The stage in the pool.
The stage is going inside the pool. We are covering everything. And the owner is like, God bless Michael for that. He agreed to it. It's like, we didn't understand the engineering of it, but we figured that engineering out. But yeah, so for some more pronounced things, I loved designing Keteke Fever.
Okay.
And the fact that it was a personal favorite of Ichiko made it even fulfilling.
Yeah. And
I loved the creative process of that on the Joy side. But on my side, on personally, like 020 Live.
Yeah.
I did Joe Thomas live in Accra.
Okay.
This is in 2004,
Yeah.
I think. Afro Nation.
Yeah.
One Voice Festival. The Silent Disco Tour with Peck Hash Party series, which we took all around. People partying with headphones. But yeah, it's
a number of them.
But that's just here. The international ones, I mean, I loved working on the MTV Africa Music Awards. That was a learning. That was free education that you are getting paid for. It was beautiful.
What role did you play in that?
So obviously, as I was brand rep here.
Okay.
And I was responsible for talent and commercials.
Okay.
So Ghana performers, putting the talent list together, and it was a very democratic process where we all kind of get together. And I produced a segment inside the whole thing, and I had a very special role when I go to at least the 2 or 3 mamas. So our MD Alex Okosi, I was kind of like his chief of staff, because because I run production. The production team were like, we're going to place you with the MD. So you are our early warning system that when he's coming, and he's very meticulous, like he will be in your case. So you are going to manage him to allow us to manage our work.
Okay.
Because otherwise, every time your MD comes in, you have to stop everything to do. And because you run production, I was seeing it and feeding back like, hey, trusses have gone up, talent have arrived, the schedules are in, this is... So as I kept him informed, it kept the production teams to, put out all the fires that I can, because he's always crazy. I mean, what you see up front, the final one is madness. Yeah.
John 99.7 FM, we have in here Ruddy Kwakye. He is a media executive and event producer, curator, baby. Now, let's get into Afro Nation. You were the executive producer for Afro Nation Ghana. How did you get that role?
It was actually, so, I think this is where grace works.
Yeah.
Because this is from our MTV days conversation. Somebody who I came into contact with he's actually the current director of National Culture for Nigeria.
Okay.
Director General, Obiasika. And
okay.
he was like, you guys are going to Ghana, you got to talk to Rudy. So I asked him, like, why did you, of all the people, and he knows everybody here. So why? I said, oh, Rudy, back in the day, you always responded to emails no matter what. And I've also seen your work. So when the team wanted to come, they called for a meeting. It was at Mervynpick.
Okay.
Sat down, we had a conversation. To be honest, I mean, I've always produced on the brand side, not on the commercial side, because whatever it is that we're doing, you would curate it, and there's always a brand presence at the back.
Okay.
But this is purely commercial. This is the other way around. So it was a whole new thing. And when we met, the owners were like, yeah, let's have a conversation. I was like, yeah, but we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm like, okay, we shook hands.
Wow.
It was nothing long. Hey, we're gonna have a lot of 3 other conversations with everybody. Well, the thing is, everybody they went to talk to is like, you know what? Talk to Rudy. Yeah. You have to talk to Rudy, because what you want to do, it's Rudy. Let's have a. So then we just started to work, really.
So what specifically did the role entail?
As EP, you're everything from commercial to talent to venue. I selected the venues.
Okay, you did.
I was like, hold the beer. Let's go here. This
La
is
Boma.
La Boma. What's it called? Marine Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's as EP, you're end to end, from budgeting to spend to talent to programming. Like, you're in everything, and you have your eye on commercial success.
What was the idea behind the choice of La Boma, for example?
So for me, on a personal level, right, it's been, I love breaking new grounds, breaking new venues. And the fact that we've done this thing here does not mean that we can't find a new. When I walk through Accra, I see new venues every day.
Yeah.
And it's impossible sometimes to sell to people, but that's me. But again, this whole thing was christened the world's biggest beach festival. Remember that when Afro Nation announced Ghana, there was no Afro Nation. They had just announced Portugal and sold some tickets, but they really hadn't even produced the show. So there was really no template or guide. So Ghana was actually an integral part in writing and letting the template come to life. So when I got to La Boma, I was like, this is the place. We needed a beach.
Yeah.
Accra, this is the beach. Forget Labadi Beach. It's drama. It's a lot of drama. And I had seen Lavadi Beach, shout out to Regis Amazo. He had done, was it Ja Rule at the beach before? I saw how, but La Bomba was different. And again, there was an opportunity to curate and engage and guide something towards the future. And when I spoke with the owners of the beach, regardless of all his wahala, I thought we could make it work. And yes, we did make it
In
work.
your own assessment, how did the first Afro Nation pan out for you?
It was fantastic, like in every sense of the word, from learnings. I mean, executing a fully cashless event with embedded with technology, the financial systems in curating them, bringing those 30 acts, like working through 11 months where almost everybody that was like, you guys are mad, it's not going to happen. That was actually the fun part, like making sure everybody's like, yeah, it's going to happen. Yo, we'll see it soon. We'll see it soon. But I think it's not a fluke when people benchmark that event. And for me, it's because we worked our bottoms off to get that one done.
For how long did you stay with Afro Nation?
I never left. I'm here. No, but it was an 11-month
Afro
production.
Nation Ghana. Okay.
Yeah, it was an 11-month production.
Okay. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went that deep.
You're not part of the
2022.
Yes.
No, I was.
You were part of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. How would you assess the impact Afro Nation had on Ghana's creative economy?
Oh, I think it brought first of the learnings. Like, I see a lot of suppliers. Let me go back to 2019. Right?
Yeah.
We went through, myself and my technical producer, Paul Chumbrema, and he's my business partner. And we went through not less than 40 technical suppliers.
Wow.
And we inventoried everybody's gear.
Ooh.
Because there was a mission at the back of it is, really, if you can make this, anything we need to get from Ghana, get it. It's priority. We need to impact the local system. So we work with logistics owners and everybody and literally build an inventory management system, put it back on software and says, this gear can talk to this gear, so we don't need to bring it up from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that was a real eye-opener. So when I see certain suppliers, like people learned new skills. I learned plenty new skills. A lot of people had to learn new skills just to play, and I think that's the impact. Like the learnings, and it also opened a lot of people's eyes to the economic structure of events, not the fun. Because for the longest time, people think Unishiyana, yes. No. No, it's a business. And it's a very deep business. It's a very deep business. Like any other one, you've got P&Ls that you need to. I mean, imagine before we get out of the door, we have to work out a P&L. We need a minimum set of tickets to sell to reach a break-even point before you go. And guess what? People don't understand. We don't just call talents. We call talents and assess them based on what they can sell.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing people don't understand. Like, it's not the name or who has a hot song. The question is, how much tickets is Kwame Dadzie worth in this market?
Exactly.
Oh, Kwame Dadzie could sell 1,000 tickets. Okay, so if we have 3 Kwame Dadzies and each one sells 1,000 tickets, then that's 3,000 tickets sold, and we've got a business, or we can go to market. So from a learnings position or perspective, please, brother, it was free school that you got paid for.
Before I bring in Uncle Ken, how did you feel when you heard that Afro Nation would not be held in Ghana again?
I wasn't in two spaces about it.
Okay.
Also, it was an evolution. It was always bound to happen at a certain point. And there's also the part of, it's actually an opportunity. Something else needs to grow in its place. you know, when Chance the Rapper says the Black Star Line Festival wasn't coming back, he was going to Jamaica, I'm like, yeah, we needed a proof of concept. It's been done. Something else was sprouting in its place. So I saw it as an opportunity. It's nothing.
All right, we have Ruddy Kwakye here, media executive. This message is from Ajiman Joseph. And he says, Kwame, please tell your guest, Mr. Ruddy, I admire him so much. Why won't he organize a school for some of us to learn under him? Please tell Anita I want to contribute. Ajiman Joseph, contribute to what? The birthday? Okay. John 99.7 FM, Showbiz A-Z. Let me bring in Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken. Hello, Wafa.
Kwame, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
First of all, have to wish Anita a very happy birthday.
Yes.
She told me on Thursday evening when I came for my show that it was her birthday today. But somehow, I totally forgot. And I got here, and you know what she did? The first thing she did was she came to hug me, and she said, "It's my birthday today. This is your birthday hug." I felt terrible. Anita, happy birthday. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Yeah. And seeing Ruddy here.
Yeah, Ruddy.
I haven't seen him.
Uncle?
I haven't seen him in about.
We are here.
Hey. Achekakra. Ambo.
Or then what?
Ache. Some of them you know, it's hard for me to see my people. But Ruddy there is my guy. I got to know this guy when he was at Choice FM.
Whoa.
And
I never knew.
And he hosted a program. He did a political show.
Yeah, believe it or not, I guess sense more.
No, you guess sense.
Which was always my thing, right?
Yeah.
So like, you like entertainment, so you can't. I'm like, guys, life is.
He hosted a political show.
Wow.
On Choice. I don't know. I think Nana Fredua's one was Matters Arising.
Yes.
What was yours? I have just forgotten the title of yours. I don't know whether you continued from Randy with Strict Proof.
Yes.
Did you?
No. So I there was a time I was playing after Strict Proof.
Yeah.
I was going into the drive.
Okay.
For him.
Okay.
Sitting in, but
Okay.
there was an afternoon belt hour.
Okay.
That I had.
But he hosted a program, and once in a while I would call in to the show and contribute. This was years ago, you know. And then he came to multimedia.
Mm-hmm.
And he also didn't tell you that he's hosted the show before.
He didn't say, but I know.
But you know.
Yes,
okay. Yes. He's hosted the entertainment show before.
Yeah.
Then it was what?
Rhythms?
Rhythms
A to Z.
A to Z. Yes. You know, and I remember an episode where he sat in for Niai.
Niai Tego, Grandmaster.
Because like when he came to Joy, he was like an all-rounder. He could sit in for anybody.
Yeah.
Because the presenting wasn't his actual reason for coming to Joy. You know, he was in charge of something else and he did. So he sat in, and one of the cases we dealt with one afternoon that I would never forget was an issue that had to do with Miss Bell and a taxi driver somewhere in Tutu.
Okay.
Years ago.
Okay, your memory is impeccable.
Uncle Ken.
You know, years ago. And Ruddy was hosting and I was on, and we had a really good time with that because people, you know, diverse opinions as to what Miss Bell had done or whether it was the taxi drivers for. Bassa, really nice, you know. It's good to see you. And, you know, I've been following him. Sadiq has been saying wonderful things about
Yes.
to me. And Sadiq there is my boy. So
Ruddy is the
talks
man.
to me, you know.
Again.
Yes. So Ruddy, nice one.
Nice.
Yeah?
Thank you. Again.
Ninoy says, my boss right there. Ruddy Kwakye, my mentor. Greetings to him. You have a lot of proteges.
Well, I have a lot of friends.
You have a lot of.
You can't think about an ecosystem and not think 2 to 3 steps into the future. You have to do that, and I think it's a critical thing that it's something I find challenging even in our Ghanaian society, where we don't pass on the things that we do. We don't also teach, and I think it's sometimes a challenge with our social programming. People think that. Remember that story about Kwame Dadzie gathering all the wisdom in the world, and then being an idiot trying to put the wisdom report in front of him before he has to. That's exactly the thing. If you sit on knowledge, that's how you get stupid.
Yeah.
To really grow in knowledge, you have to share knowledge, and I am kind of never afraid to walk in and say, hey, maybe we could do this thing 1 or 2. The thing be say, I should have charged consultancy. And some people owe me. Some people owe me money.
Where people that?
No, you down. We'll go. The list. I will publish the list.
Make I publish something.
You know what? I will send it. I think one of the people said something about teaching, and it's funny.
Ajiman Joseph. Yeah.
It's actually funny. My good friend Randy Walker and Peter. Actually, this year I started with. Part of my goals this year was to start to do that consciously. Okay. Because it's something I do, but it's not a structured system. I meet, we talk. Your calls will be picked up. I mean, there are weird times I've called you because I had 1 or 2 things, and you and I would talk, and there's really nothing. Yeah, but I think this year I will do something about it, because
please do.
It's important, because if others did it for me to learn. And it's probably good that we do that, and also we won't build the system if we don't.
Exactly.
If we don't structure it that. Something crossed my mind from a question you asked before.
All right.
One of my favorite projects I worked on was when VGMA was switching from MTN to Vodafone. The transition.
Oh, okay.
So I was actually the project manager, project coordinator. In between the transition, we had to really recalibrate the entire system, worked on new definitions, because you had to bring the categories to the reality.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time where it was contemporary high life of the year. Contemporary high life's time had passed. How is it still sitting? Because the music form had, and it was a very interesting 2 years, working with Madam Theresa Ayode and Yola and the Charterhouse team. At that time, it was because that was a really deep dive system time for me. I loved that whole project management and bringing the awards into that, and also the transition from how do you decouple from one brand and anchor to another. So there were real marketing lessons, because you had MTN that had probably done almost 10 years with it, and you got an upstart like Vodafone that's just entered into market, and they're transitioning. How do you even position, and working with both teams? Then you're working with the Vodafone team internally on how, and I'll share some secrets, right? So Vodafone getting on VGM was not. It's not a fluke. It was actually part of the strategy on entry into Ghana. It was called Project Thunder.
Okay.
And from day one, Vodafone was like, how do you compete with the MTN? You can't win. And MTN had started to downgrade their spending on culture. And Vodafone was like, we are going to double down on culture. And before long, we would win all their cultural projects. So as an outside resource and agency and strategist, the whole plan was, we're going to build our own platform, 1. 2, we're going to do music and get the talent into the pipeline. 3, we're going to own the biggest platform.
I get it.
And it worked. It grew that business.
They even introduced music reality shows.
That was all part of.
Yeah.
It was a whole comprehensive plan that was, put together, and I had front row seats in watching that happen and how culture grows business.
Yeah.
You see, people see things like it's just entertainment. They are not serious people. No, culture grows businesses.
True.
It is not a fluke that brands like Hennessy, not because they are alcohol. No, they spend on culture because it's got ROI. At the end of the day, where do you think those billions Diageo and LVMH and Bank of America are reporting? Where is it coming from? Culture has a massive role in generating those revenues.
Rudy, somebody says Rudy was part of the team that brought UB40 to Labadi. Tony Avuve from North Carnation.
So Tony, actually, the UB40 was Stambik Jazz. Stambik Jazz. Stambik did that. Stambik paid for UT, and we were there because it was one of the most innovative systems where they literally dug out. That's why we went to Laboma, because when we went to Labadi at that time, they had built an arena in the sun.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
If Stambik was building that with the Afro Nation, we are going. It's the unexecuted. We had a whole plan, right? I wanted to put a barge on the sea, and we're on the last day of Afro Nation. We're going to shoot an arrow. It's doused with fire, and we're going to shoot an arrow into that, and it will light up and it will burn for 6 hours. Yeah, we created all the last minute. It's like, this is too much. Come on.
It has Bonner on as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so Rudy is still here with us. Let me say hi to Latif Abubakar, who is event organizer and playwright, CEO
Latif
of
is more than
I'll
tell you Latif's
he's a lot more.
real occupation very soon.
Hi, Latif.
Hello, my brother. How are you?
I mentioned that you're event organizer, playwright. Please add the rest. Add the rest.
I think that's enough.
Oh, add the rest.
That's enough.
Because I know there are others.
Yeah, there are others, but I mean, for now, yeah,
it's okay.
We'll have a conversation. So,
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
you're welcome.
Rudy, let's talk about Global Citizen Festival.
Yes.
I know you played a role in this one as well.
Yes, very small role.
Small role? How small was it? How small was
Build a stage kind of role.
it? Okay, you built
Yeah, so
the stage.
I mean, this was a big ideas production management.
Okay.
A deliverable with Global
Kojopo.
Citizen was so.
Okay.
Let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Remember when I said that culture unlocks economic power? Because we had created Afro Nation and we realized, okay, we're going to do multi-year and certain year. A certain stage, when it's in your marketplace, signals to the big players that you are ready for. Because look, Beyonce, there are certain artists that won't perform on certain stages. It doesn't matter how you are paying them. If they accept your money, you would have to do the size of logistics and play and staging that they want, or because you also can't drop their level. Let's just call it that. Right? You can't. It's not how I paid you or you should do it. No, it goes beyond money on the culture side. So part of the strategic plan was, let's put this level of stage. It's the same stage you would have seen in Beyonce's tour. That stage was £1 million.
Huh?
Yep.
£1 million what?
Pounds.
That stage?
Yep.
Whoa.
It's £1 million stage. So when we saw the line, I was like, okay, Global Citizen, this one is coming, this one is. I'm saying £1 million to buy for it to buy, not a rental, no.
Okay.
But that stage is also where you see big shows and big talents are coming. So in our mind, we're like, okay, we've got two uses. Afro Nation will use this. This one will use it. This one will use it. Okay, then it starts to make economic sense to put that stage here. So as soon as Global Citizen came out, and they were actually going to fly in a stage. Because Usher was never going to do on any other stages that we had here. Sorry. It's not about that. None of the talents would have stepped on that stage. It's small. And it's part of, young people call it aura. Yeah. It's the aura.
Yeah.
They have to. And also it's an outdoor. They were never going to. Indoor, They allow for scaled down versions of things, but outdoor you're never going to put a certain size of stage. It needs to be imposing. The depth, lighting, and the other thing is it's also the production elements. That stage could carry tons of light, like it's massive, sometimes 100 ton of gear that is hanging in there, that is doing all of the things that should. But so you needed that weight. So for us, it was delivering the stage in time for use for global citizens. So I built the whole project management of getting out of the port, assembling it, brought the whole crew in. It's the same stage we used for Wizkid Live in the stadium.
Yeah.
And that stage signaled to a certain line of talent that were ready for things.
Wow.
It's a critical part of this whole economic system. If the logistics match up, people will come. Look, there's a sound system that certain talents won't come if you don't have a DAB system in this market. DAB, minimum used one say £1 million.
Yeah.
Sound proper, no self-respecting artists like that. A-list, they won't come. You have to convince. Yes, the Chinese boxes are great, but they weren't named brands. So it's all part of, but the stage's presence would unlock certain things in the marketplace.
Yeah. Would you say Global Citizen Festival in our generation, if you like, is the biggest world-class stage that we've seen in this country? As in the event itself?
No, but Black Star Line did more numbers than Global Citizen.
Okay, you're talking about numbers? Okay.
So are you talking lineup? So you, because you also need to.
I'm talking quality, everything in total as an event.
I love Global Citizen, but no, I think Afro Nation 2019, for total production perspective, put that thing and what it unlocked in the system. And guys, let's get into some numbers. The impact of Afro Nation 2019 was $50 million market impact. If you count the economic results out of it. And it's a simple measure. 9,680 people flew into the country for that festival. Everybody took a plane or some mode of transportation, usually planes. They stayed for 7 days because it was 4 days, 1 day for travel for each side. And they ate food and also did other vices. That's why I can't get it. It's not my problem. But if you did the number, so you know when GTA put out that we made $1 billion and a lot of people were making noise from year of return, I was like, guys, you guys have no clue. I don't think they even made the calculations right. If they made the calculations right, it's more. Because flights in 2019, December, was as much as $2,000. Flights that were $800 just 2 months or like a month before literally just climbed up. So that's what it brought or what it unlocked. And look, it was hotels, it was Airbnbs, it was food places, restaurants, booze, other things. I mean, the legal economy was very good. The illegal one, I don't know.
You don't know?
Yes, because I am for the legal side. But I mean, look, 2019 was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that Movenpick Kempinski were booked as at February 2019 for December?
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't get
February.
Yeah, when we started the production, we went for we need all your room. And like, forget, it's already booked. We didn't get in. We didn't get in. So we actually had to work with number one Oxford Cheddars Hotel.
Yeah.
And that was a race to get it out because bulk of our talent were in that place.
Interesting.
Yeah. And again, think what culture drove. Because he had to race. He literally, and we went to sit to Jay and like, Joe, you for finish that thing. Like, so if in his time he was like, nah, I'm going to do this in a year, he had to unlock capital. And we had to make commitments that far in time to give him the confidence to finish up.
Exactly.
And that's the economic impact I talk about, what culture unlocks.
Wow. John 99.7 055111197. Any question for Ruddy Kwakye here? Drop them now. Ruddy, there is a Black Star Experience, which is the flagship program for the government in terms of tourism, culture, and creative arts. What's your take on this initiative?
I think it's single biggest cultural thing we could do for the country. I am 1,000,000% for it. Country branding is money. So I grew up in kind of 90s. You're watching CNN. Malaysia, truly Asia. We could sing those things. Money. It positions and you know, I did a deep dive on country branding projects.
Okay.
The Great Britain campaign gives UK 5.6 billion per annum. That's just guaranteed money that will come. But it does 132 billion.
132.
Country branding positioning for Kenya, right? Magical Kenya is the second biggest contributor of FX into the Kenyan economy. Almost $1 billion raw cash. That means people flying, money for pocket, ready to dance. Rwanda's numbers is insane. So it's just putting a system together to harness what we have. And the thing is, Ghana, we've got a taste of it in 2019 with your return and beyond the return projects. The Black Star Experience is putting a framework together to systematize that income. Okay. And every country worth its salt is doing it. We can't do vibes. It's beyond dirty December play. You've got 12 months of sun. I remember that campaign that was run a few years ago. During COVID, there was an ad that was put up by the NFA. It says, we've got 12 months of sun. You can never ask for anything perfect than that. So if it's 12 months of sun, imagine how much we can unlock into the country from culture, and positioning of ourselves as a brand. I think it's something that is, and the thing is, it's probably also the easiest work because Ghana has all the trappings. Like, I go to places and it's like, I come from the culture capital of Africa. Nobody do question me. Because we've got the vibes. Which country are you going to talk about? I mean, we may not have a pyramid, right? We may not have the wildlife, the baboons that these guys, Rwanda has, right? We don't have the safari that Kenya has, but we've got vibes. Our vibes level is 2,000. Vibes song. But we have to productize vibes. And I think that's what the Black Star Experience will do for us. Productizing the vibe and making you be able to come in. Because right now, it's there. I mean, I want to go to Ghana is everybody's curious thing, because they want to come and see. Yeah. But if we start to build intentionality into this, and that thing that we all felt, and I felt it again, in 2019 and subsequent years, where people think that year of return just is an Accra thing. No, let's make it a countrywide thing.
Ruddy, I hear you are playing a role in the Black Star Experience, and I'm not surprised. Tell us more about that.
Look, if you're an ecosystem thinker, right, this is the perfect opportunity to affect the entire ecosystem. Okay. So, I mean, salute to Sir Rex Omar, for providing that leadership. And it's true, I got called about it. I was like, I will share my thoughts and my learnings from all over the years. So I'm a technical consultant to the project. Wow. Giving direction in strategy, commercial partnerships, and how it can roll out into it. It's an outside role. It's an outside conversation I have with him, but I sit with the team on it. And it's a multi-generational play. I'll tell you something. Korean beauty products is $13 billion per annum because of K-pop. The plastic faces you are saying, cream, you know.
Because of K-pop.
Yes. Every year, K-pop rolls out 6 festivals across international cities like LA, London, all over the place. And guess who are the headliners? It's Koreans. It's K-pop acts. How do you think they became a global phenomenon? It's a $1.2 billion project which started in the 90s. And it's still going. And that's what drove Netflix to put $1 billion in K-drama alone, because it was an intentional thing for, like, okay, we're gonna tell our stories. Right. And hitherto, remember, the Chinese movies were a global phenomenon from the 70s on. Yeah. They had to cut through, and that's what an intentional thing does to you. So, from our stage play to our movies to our music, if we put this framework in place, that's how far we can take it to that level.
Kojako Tubuatin is asking a question here. He says, what are the 3 key areas we need to channel public investment to drive growth in culture, arts, tourism, and the general creative industry?
I think the first one is we need to harness, let me put it, education.
Okay.
Right. There are skill sets that are required in the system. Something is happening in South Africa.
All right.
Do you know who are behind really the massive growth that Saudi Arabia is, the $30 billion that they are spending on culture and building, modernizing Saudi Arabia? It's actually South Africa. There's a talent gap in all those old producers. Everybody's decamped to. They're buying on talent like they need them. It's the same thing that we used to have with nurses. What's the number one thing that we've always explored? Every generation, Ghanaian nurses, your quality, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
First and foremost, we need to put in something in education. We need the skills of, health and safety specialists, producers, line producers, all of that. That needs to be critically looked at. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just talking events. What about the movie side? The creative side. We need the directors. And the thing is, we have all these systems in play. We just need to elevate the play, right? The certifications, whether we're building, we're building relationships with places. The funny thing is, NYU has been training people in Ghana for almost 10 years. Right? NYU actually has a Ghana campus where they come in to go. How many people they go there? Go to NYU from our side. We need the numbers. Latif actually done that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I partner with them, so we do a lot.
Yeah.
There you go. That's 1. 2. Look, investment unlocks returns. Culture needs true investment. You can't go global like he's trying to go if there's not a system that allows you to tap into that investment to take it to. And this is where we must be smart. I'm not talking free money. Don't give event people free money. It's a very stupid thing we do. Like I heard previously, you hear rumors, so these people were giving money. And it's like, is it a grant? Is it what they were giving money? What's the framework for giving the money? But can we create, there's a bank of industry in Nigeria.
Yeah.
That actually funds industry.
Yeah.
Part of the the Nollywood drive, bank of industry has always been there contributing.
Sure.
Where is our bank of industry? We need capital. And none of us is calling for handouts. None of us are calling for handouts. We need a place to access capital to be able to invest and bring returns. It was a funny thing in 2019. Do you know how the bank embedded in Afro Nation? Yeah, there was a bank on site. You need to do cash management. And I went to a couple of banks. Some of them are like, what are you talking about? I was like, sit down. if you're bringing 60,000 people to a place and the programming is minimum of 8 hours, when you go to a place that you spend 8 hours, a couple of things are guaranteed to happen. You drink water.
Yeah.
You would eat. You would drink water at least 3 times. You would eat at least a single, whatever it is, you eat a single meal.
Another one is gone.
Right? Or you eat 2 meals. Which means that our marketplace already has a guaranteed or locked in returns. The people are selling tickets. So guess the bank that I understood as Barclays at that time was our cash management and banking partner.
Okay.
And they had an embed. I was like, here's why you need to have an embed. We will be carrying cash. We'll be giving it to you. You need to bank that money. So it was a real financial system. And I worked previously with the FMB, also in the same way. And taking the team through and letting them understand that, because it's the same thing you are doing at Tokashi that is just being done here. It's just a very smaller scale that is, because we're trading, and it's a closed loop economy.
Yeah.
When 30,000 people gather in a certain place and they stay for a number of hours, see everybody with CD sign on the top of their heads. You are making 50 Ghana from everybody if they stay that amount of time.
That's Ruddy Kwakye here, John 99.7 FM, Showbiz A-Z.
We didn't say the third one. So
the third
investment is education, is investment.
Yes.
And the three key places the third one is it's actually industry help to shape IP. Right.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, we've got certain things that we need to ring fence. Mandela is a ring fenced IP for South Africans. We had a Mandela before Mandela. His name is Nkrumah. He's not a ring fenced IP. And IPs do nothing but appreciating value. Otherwise, why would there be a fund from venture capitalists that just goes and buys catalog?
Yeah.
Hypnosis spend billions acquiring catalogs of artists. Why? What is there? You think is an intangible? No. Right now, in certain markets, you can actually put a catalog down as collateral.
Yeah.
To access capital. So investment in IP, critical.
Very critical. 05511119997. You've been listening to a conversation with Ruddy Kwakye, media executive. Coming up, we'll be talking about the issue of event organizers mostly complaining that they don't make money from the event. But you hear them say, sold out, sold out. Now, let me tell you, this August, Adansi Travels is turning up the excitement as part of its 12 years of delivering unforgettable travel experiences. So get ready to see more, feel more, and explore some of the world's most exciting destinations from